Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit and talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your host, James Boyd, and with me I have the usual, the tried, the true, in the words of Tory Lanez from Quarantine Radio, an ultimate light skin. Rich Latta, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I just watched Contagion earlier.
Oh God!
Trying to work on this Matt Damon immunity on you boys, and watch the world go to rubble around me. But before that point, this is a special episode.
Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's been a long time coming. If we were more familiar, I'd call her a Hollywood, but I don't know if she plays like that. So I'm gonna leave that alone and apologize right now. But long time coming. We have Tonya Rodgers of Suplexes and Shea Butter with us. What's going on, Tonya?
Thank you for having me on. I'm a little rusty. It's been a minute, but I'm not doing anything else, so might as well come and talk your guys' ear off. I can talk now, so get ready.
Yeah, we all can. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. Like I remember when y'all, first started out, and I see y'all on Twitter every day, and y'all, I agree with a lot of stuff y'all say. I disagree with some stuff, but regardless of whatever it is, y'all be funny as hell. But
yeah. And the thing is, I don't like people who always agree with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I like seeing things, especially with wrestling, from a different point of view, because there's some wrestlers in wrestling that I didn't like a few years ago. I go back and watch and be like, that wasn't that bad. It was all right. So I'm flexible with wrestling, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's fake fighting after all. But, yeah, like I know normally when we have first-time guests on, we kind of ask them kind of like how they got into wrestling, and then we ask them, like who are some of your favorites? I already know one of your favorites, but like...
Yeah, well, obviously, my Abby.
Where did it start? And then we can roll that in.
Okay, so I got into wrestling because, like, growing up, my dad used to watch it. He used to watch the old NWA. And that was just, like, a form of bonding. But, like, I really wasn't into most of the guys. Like, I don't know if you watch old school wrestling. It was kind of boring to me, but I still watch it. And then one day we were watching Saturday night main event or something. Saw this man with this flashy stuff, and he talked like this, and he was like, "Oh yeah," and it changed my life. Like I was a 4 or 5 year old girl, but I wanted to be him. I wanted to be the Macho Man Randy Savage, and so that's where my love of wrestling came in, because he was so colorful and interesting. And so I've been watching it most of my life. For a period, I stopped, or I kind of fell out of love with it, specifically because of Chris Benoit.
Ooh,
we don't have to go into it. But he was my fave at that time.
Oh man,
him and Eddie, that shit, like, it crushed me. It made me question, am I a good person for watching this? And
yeah, yeah. But
I came back full time in 2013 because of the Shield. So, like, I love those guys so much. The three of them, even if I don't agree on everything with them, those three guys brought me back to, like, when I was a kid again and couldn't wait to watch Raw next week to see what they did. So, like, ever since 2013, I've been full-time in it, and I'm probably going to be full-time until a certain person retires and goes to Hollywood with his cousin.
Yeah. Well, how much do we offer him to start making those calls, James?
It's time. I think it is time.
Was it after WrestleMania 34 when I was like, "Fuck this"? He needs to just leave. Like,
But after 34, that's when he got into Hobbs and Shaw, right?
Yeah, just about, or maybe actually the end of that year. Yeah.
Yeah, but so he was thinking about it, but
don't think, do.
Yeah.
Leave.
But as far as like my love of current wrestling, most of it is women's wrestling. That's what I really like. Most of the dudes, they alright, but like I've seen dudes all my life. These women are doing something way more interesting to me now. Their characters are more layered. Most of the dudes are, I came here and I worked hard and I scratched and clawed. And the women have so many different variety of characters now. Where you got a Naomi, who's my absolute fave. Then you got a Sasha Banks and a Bailey. I also love those. Bianca Belair. Oh my God. Right. Like, if Vince like actually gets behind her, like, fuck a Becky Lynch. Like, seriously. I'm like, that's your money right there. I don't know.
I'm already depressed on how they're going to ruin her.
Exactly. Me too.
So the thing for me was, me and Rich got back into wrestling in 2011. Like, basically, Rock was coming back to do their WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 2012, and then like CM Punk thing popped off. So it was like, all right, let's just watch it again. And then the Shield came along, and then NXT came along or whatever else, and we started watching NXT, and we're like, the horsewomen are like, our core for like getting into like loving women's wrestling and like thinking like they're having the best fucking matches on this thing. They should be at the top of the card.
Right.
So, like, when they did the Mae Young Classic the first year, when they brought in Kairi Sane and a few other people, and I saw her first match was with Bianca. And from that match on, I was like, Bianca is the future. Like, and Rich was so like disinterested with the company after they fucked up Sasha Banks multiple times, and I was like, and like I'm at the point now with Bianca where it's like I'm in that same stage where he is with Sasha, where it's like the second they screw them up, like it's gonna be like a tipping point for like my relationship with them. Like, it's already a shitty relationship now, but like it might be where like, you know what, I don't need to watch WWE any way, shape, or form. Not even the network anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I feel you.
I remember like I was so pissed about like what they did with Sasha, because and we'll get into it more with the Ronda thing here, because I felt like she was kind of shadowed away from being able to compete for the main event position for like a couple years after having to go over Charlotte,
build everybody up. Yeah,
right. By the time Evolution rolls around, she's in a nothing 6-woman tag. I almost didn't watch the show, like, and then I came around.
But that was a good ass match, though. That was like a Shield level type 6-man, though. That was a good ass match.
Right, but I came around that morning and was like, you know what? Like, I didn't like I got to just stop being a bitch. That was how I looked at it, right? And I was like, I'm gonna just watch the show. Whatever happens, I'm gonna just judge it from there. And luckily, I loved the show. So
it turned out to be the best. It turned out to be like one of the better pay-per-views of
the year.
Yeah, it was
of the year, definitely.
It was the best pay-per-view that year, and it's one of the best pay-per-views in WWE history. So it's like I was in the whole time, and it's like, look, I know what we're gonna have with the Becky and Charlotte, and it turned out to be even better than I thought it was gonna be. Like the Mae Young Classic final, I thought it could have went longer because it would have been better if it went longer, but it was still, for what it was still very damn good. And like throughout that whole match, everybody put out their best efforts, and it's like, that was like the turning point for 2018 for me, towards like you get to they built up WrestleMania 34 so well, and then the bottom dropped out in like the last 2 hours of that show, and then like the whole rest of the year just like, I don't even want to watch this shit, man. And then it gets to Evolution, or really like the second Mae Young Classic came around. I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. And NXT at that point is when I started watching NXT for real, and that kind of like brought me back to the product. And then Evolution, and then from there you get like Survivor Series, really good. The TLC pay-per-view that year at the finish of the year was great as well. And it was like, okay, they've righted the ship after like crashing that fucker into the Titanic at WrestleMania 34. And then it's like, oh, okay,
nah,
let's screw up Becky Lynch. let's
a sure thing. Like God, they got handed Becky on a platter.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, you be like, if we gonna give you Becky, y'all gonna give us Charlotte. And
yeah. And it comes full circle with stories like we got into it because of somebody's ascension. Like the pipe bomb was an ascension of CM Punk, right? The Yes Movement is the ascension of Daniel Bryan. Becky comes along as the ascension of the man, and like that as fans is what you want. Is like, we want to see a star break through, Vince. Like, and like it has to be like in a bad way. Like I feel like so much of what they did with Roman was so badly done, and so not actually to his real, like what he naturally is comfortable with doing, that like by the time he they may have pushed him maybe a year before he was ready, like as a single.
They did.
Top. But
they definitely did.
Right, but by the time they get to 2017, he's ready.
Right.
Like, he had the matches or whatever else. He had those matches in 2015 with like Daniel Bryan, and like and in 2016 with I'm not CM Punk, AJ Styles or whatever else. So he's having good quality matches and great matches with people. Like, so he's earned it in the ring, but like as a character and as a promo is not there until 2017. It's like, you've done so much damage to this dude's credibility with these people that are the nittest pickest fuckers ever of all time as fans. And that includes me, right? Like, that like once he cuts the See You Sunday superstar movie or movie star thing to go to No Mercy 2017 against Cena, is like, this is what we've been waiting for. But they've screwed it up already. So in the crowd, like, no matter whatever they do, that I think is a smart, nifty way to try to get him over for like a day, it doesn't last for more than a few weeks. And it's like, damn, man, it's really a bum to watch his top babyface, like, and the crowd just doesn't take to him. It's really a bum to watch the product.
It's in another thing that's frustrating for me is that you don't have to. He doesn't have. He's still going to be a top guy. He's still going to be your locker room leader. If he was a heel, Roman has gotten so many people over because they were opposite him. Just because they were opposite him, people like them more. But you still. Okay, and he's a good damn heel.
If they let him, he would be. He'd be a great heel.
Oh my God, he'd be great.
And at the same time, there's like a parallel situation in like New Japan, not even the Naito thing, right?
Well, a bunch of different like companies, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but like Okada being the champion, the whole intrigue was like, who was going to knock him off? They could have come into. I think they were so insistent on like putting him in the place to where he could win the title, and that it was like at a WrestleMania or something like that, that they were afraid to just lose themselves in the calendar, commit to like something like a heel turn, and then make the story who's gonna knock him off. Like if he would have been the champion going into WrestleMania some of them years, like Okada was the champion going into Wrestle Kingdom, Tanahashi was the champion going into Wrestle Kingdom. It's like, can you defend it against like such and such? That was like, I feel like that's the route they never tried with him.
Because they had Brock, and Brock was a hindrance. Brock is the reason why I'm really disinterested in men's wrestling, because he's always at the top, and it's like there's no intrigue. Like, and people don't want to admit that, and that's why it's hard to get over, because like at the end of the day, there's still Brock.
Yeah,
and there's a mark for him.
Yeah, and he's gonna come in. And
shit all over everything. Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna come in. He's not gonna say shit. except for like maybe once a year. And then you're going to have Paul Heyman for like the 50th time try to figure out the 50th way to try to slice an onion.
Right. That's already been sliced 50 times already.
Right. Yeah. And like WrestleMania Thor was 34 for me. Just like, okay, you've moved heaven and earth for this guy. It didn't take. You insisted. It's been years. You didn't want to turn him for whatever fucking reason. Whatever. All right. Pull the Band-Aid off now. Do it now. You have no reason not to do it. And then they thought that by him getting busted open by this fucking guy, and then after getting busted open, quote unquote, for real, and then getting pinned by a fake fucking wrestling move, that was going to get sympathy from the crowd. And I was like, I remember after WrestleMania 34, like immediately we did an immediate post instant reaction show, and I was like, the people that were listening to me like were saying like, I've never heard James this down on like WWE and negative, and he's like, yeah, man, this is done. Like the NBA playoffs are starting. I might pay attention. I might not. And I ended up going away until like
I hosted the show solo for like 4 months after that.
Yeah, bro, I just couldn't. I was like, you.
Here's the thing about WrestleMania 34, and because like I really take my role in the Roman Empire seriously. Because understand, when he was getting attacked, just because like at first I was like, damn, don't nobody like him. But there were these group of women, because I was defending him, and they would be like, thank you for saying this. I wanted to say it, but I was scared because everybody jumps on anybody who defends him.
By incels.
Yes, so I was like, fuck it, I'll fight these motherfuckers for y'all. So, like, we held on to Roman and bought his merch and, like, kept watching for him. And we kind of feel like Vince McMahon takes us for granted, the Empire.
He do.
Because we're always going to be there. And Vince knows we're always going to support him. If he's on the card and we can get a ticket, we're going to the damn show. We're going to buy his ugly ass shirts. We're going to cry when he...
I'm glad that you...
He had two good shirts.
Okay, thank you.
He had two good shirts.
I'm glad that you have mentioned that his shirts are kind of like...
ugly.
Yeah. Like,
Dean Ambrose was getting all these cool ass shirts.
Yeah.
And Roman was getting the ugliest fucking shirts. And I'm like, oh, so you telling me they like Roman better? They're giving him all this ugly ass merch. They're giving him sucker and succotash to say.
Between our friend group, every time there's shirts that come out or like a rash of them, we send them to our group to immediately judge them and be like, all right, this is sabotage. This is something, because there's been Daniel Bryan's got a lot of horrible shirts too.
Daniel Bryan don't have no good shirts, none. The Yes shirt, the white Yes shirt with his face on it, that's the only good one.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I would say the first Roman shirt, like the one that you had, Rich, with basically like the original, like, you know, like his logo. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if they, and then all the stuff with like the dogs is like, oh, okay, I guess. Like
the first one with the dog is good, but okay. They are going overboard now. Like that's just.
I think it was like at the time when he started having, as Rich calls it, the WrestleMania 33 match with Undertaker, as he calls it, the yard match, is when he was like, you know, the big dog in the yard, and I'm just like, oh no, they're putting these on shirts. Oh no, don't do this to this man. But
we still bought him. He was beating all the full-time guys. He could never be John Cena. Right. And people would always use that against him, but I'm like, we don't want him to be John Cena. Like, we want him to be Roman Reigns. Right. And they was trying to get him to be John Cena.
Yep. Vince is always, I mean, that's what suffering succotash was about. Like, that tongue twisted me. But, like, the whole idea was, all right, like, I think personally, what got him over with the Shield stuff was, one, they almost never lost. But besides that point, I mean, they just came in and whooped everybody's ass. Yeah. Like, that sounds like how everybody's ever made a star in wrestling, right? So,
right.
They came in, they wreaked havoc on everybody. They had kick-ass matches. All three of them were distinct and different. they didn't you didn't see that much personality from all three of them, but they were all interesting. So that was enough to carry you through the day. So they all split up,
and they all would have been I forgot what territory it was. They would have serviced the rats.
Yeah, Lord. But and there's another thing I think that makes them different from like a DX or whatever. They weren't all trying to get. It seemed like they liked each other, like they actually like they weren't just trying to be stars. Okay. They hugged each other. Like, this works with girls. I don't know about y'all, but what got them over with the women is how affectionate they were towards each other in the Shield.
Oh yeah, I heard about that fan fiction.
Yeah,
but it works. It works though, because they're like, "I love you," and they're hugging each other. It was like the Shield was like not toxic masculinity, like the appropriate amount of masculinity.
Yeah, I think of one in particular. One moment they had was when I think it was during the Wyatt feud. I'm not sure. And when they teased the breakup, when like they were they're about to lose, so Seth walks off, and like he basically hops off and avoids the tag, and they take a L. And then the next week you're like, what the hell's about to happen? And then basically all they did to solve it was Ambrose just decks him to the ground, and he gets up, and they're cool now, right? And I'm like, that's what I like. Like, yes, y'all are family. Y'all get frustrated with each other, but at the end of the day, it's all love. But like, nah, I need to deck you one time, then we can move on, right? Like, but yeah, like for example, I watch Stardom or whatever in Japan, and like that's one of the things for me that was like, yeah, like all these people in these factions, they all love each other, and then like when you don't see the love, like you kind of like, what's going on? And then eventually, like, it turns to a long form storytelling to where like, oh, it's Tam Nakano and Arisa Hoshiki like start kneeing each other's faces off. Like, okay, I get that. So yeah, I understand what you mean.
And then the thing they really did with Roman, that when they broke the Shield up, they had him chasing championships while Dean was pissed off at Seth, and that fucked Roman so hard. He was cracking jokes and drugging Stephanie and coffee and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I wasn't even a fan then. I was like iffy on Roman then. I was like, what the fuck?
Wasn't X-Lax?
They did do X-Lax.
X-Lax or something. She threw up all over Vicky, and Vicky got fired. So Roman was actually an asshole. He got somebody fired.
WWE stellar babyface writing.
Was just getting shoved into championship matches for no reason. Meanwhile, Dean wants to kill Seth.
Right, because of the betrayal. And that was the thing for me. It was like, I thought about this just yesterday. I never thought about it in these terms, but they basically shot it was a faction got broke up, but they shot a tag team breakup angle, in like either Roman, or because like you look back at it now, it's like clearly they wanted Seth and Roman to both succeed, and Ambrose they didn't care one way or the other.
They didn't care. Yeah,
so at the time, I'm thinking like watching is like, okay, well the person on the mic is always Ambrose. The person I like wrestling the most is Seth, and like I like what they're doing with Roman, but Roman still clearly is behind them in the ring so far. Those two, so it's still coming along, but I think he's gonna make it. Like I'm thinking in my mind, like he's gonna become like a Batista level superstar or bigger, right? So they do the breakup. And, you know, he gets the one chair shot, and then they do basically go straight ahead where he's off to the side, and they're doing the Ambrose and Rollins thing to get Rollins over. When in retrospect, what they should have done, given what we know now, is they should have did Roman chasing after Rollins after betrayal, and then that would have built him up with credibility, and you have empathy with him, and he has all that pathos. And then he just wins the Rumble, and we're off to the races. Oh, also, you make sure Daniel Bryan comes back the night after that Royal Rumble. But that's what
the next night, right? Don't bring him back and then dump him. That's one of the worst Rumbles ever.
Oh, it is.
I don't know what they were thinking.
I have gone into extreme detail about how that match.
Listen, I've sat and watched. So I've watched all the Rumble matches to the point where I know who the point man usually is in the Rumble matches, like who's actually directing traffic and stuff. And that match is just such a it was like
who thought
sabotage?
Yes.
Like that's the only
Malpractice.
That's the only, like, they are so competent in doing so many things. Why did they do?
Right.
It seems intentional.
Yeah. Like, the thing was, is like, okay, so you see what they did, and it's like, all right, like, clearly, I don't know what their plan was before he got the hernia thing. He had to go away, but like when they kept doing the progress reports with him and Michael Cole, it was like they don't want you to forget him. And this is like around the time that me and Rich started like becoming quote unquote smart fans, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, okay, so what's going on behind the scenes? What the fuck's going on? Like, where's Daniel Bryan? And like then it turned into, okay, so Daniel Bryan, he may or may not come back. The next guy's Roman, and it's like, really? I'm thinking about like, really, Roman? Like, I like him and all, but like,
and then in between, then what happened?
Ambrose.
What happened? No, I'm saying we talked about all of this.
Yeah.
While Roman is out, right before Roman comes back, who gets on that best friend podcast? Who gets on their best friend's podcast?
Got to make Roman look strong.
Who gets on their best friend's podcast? And I don't care. I don't want to get into it too deep because some people do not believe me. But especially now with the recent shit he's been doing, I think he said that shit on purpose. This was not the first podcast. This was the second one. After the first one blew up and everybody was making memes of everything he said. This man is smart. He is a very good manipulator. And he is also jealous of people who get pushed and give WrestleMania main events over him. And he knew they were going to put him in that main event. He knew it. He sabotaged that man. He did that shit.
Okay, so
he spent a whole podcast sabotaging Ryback.
Yeah. That's another one. Is like, well, the thing that, okay, I never heard a second podcast, but I heard the first one. So, like, in my mind, like, I mean, if you have eyes, you know they're trying to push, like, they're trying to push Roman. Like, clearly, like, when he sets the record for most elimination in a Rumble the year
Mm-hmm.
before that Rumble, he eliminates, like, almost everybody under the sun in that Survivor Series match. That's who they're primed to push, right? But, like, even on the terms of, like, that stupid 2013 TLC match that they had, the 3-on-1 Shield versus CM Punk match, and he's explaining,
oh my god,
y'all want me to get this dude over, but y'all want me to also win? That's fucking dumb. Just let him beat me. Like, and I was like, so, and then he's burying Ryback, and I'm thinking, like, so my mind never put the two. I never heard the second podcast. So I don't know what was said. So
the first one, he talked about his grievances, and then he did a follow up the next week and answered fan questions. That's the follow up one is where he did the make him look strong.
I thought it was the first one.
No, it was the second one.
Okay. So I think CM Punk just gave kind of like he put the music to the lyrics that everyone are.
Yes, he did.
He validated what
he put the match to the.
People already thought
struck the match. Oh yeah. See, Roman is smart. People don't realize, but he knows when they formed the Shield. He said guys used to recognize, Seth from ROH. They recognize Dean because that's John Moxley. But guys in the crowd would always give him shit when they would walk through the crowd because he's the muscle-bound, WWE guy. He said certain fans have been doing this since he got caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always that sort of fan that's like, I'm a WWE fan, or I'm watching wrestling, but like, I want to watch indie wrestling, even though this is WWE. There's definitely that. I'm going
to call Seth Rollins Kobe Lopez or whatever his ROH name was.
Oh, Tyler Black was his ROH.
Yeah,
which is
I'm going to call him Tyler Black because I'm cool with those type of fans.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's also funny that like the Seth thing. We just mentioned Seth because it's like they also were pushing Seth on the other end too. And like they were pushing two people. They basically like we have John Cena and Batista, and eventually we're going to figure out who's actual number one guy and go from there. And like, they went with Roman, and then like they always had Seth just underneath behind him in case it was some reason for to break the case or break the glass case of emergency. And then like they figured like, well, we can't.
They broke that motherfucker.
They broke it out. They WrestleMania 31.
They broke it.
Yeah.
Woo boy.
Know what else they about to break? these fucking rules. Like,
oh my god, that already. Did you see the behind the scenes photo of how they filmed the Boneyard match?
No,
nobody had on masks. Nobody was. They were on the set for 8 hours, all close together, more than 10 people. Like,
yeah, man. So
I keep saying, and I keep tweeting, if WWE called me right now, I would laugh and hang up the phone. I wouldn't even be no words. I'd be like, "Oh, you want me to come back?" Click.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I don't.
I mean, haven't heard.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
The WWE, like Vince McMahon, essentially everyone showed up to the building like Friday, apparently expecting to tape like 4 or 5 weeks of TV. This is NXT. This is Raw. This is SmackDown.
Right. I thought it was supposed to be 3 weeks of TV for those, or no?
Or tape basically up until Money in the Bank.
Okay.
But Vince McMahon has decided, no, we're gonna do it live, like your boy Bill O'Reilly said.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yep.
Do it live. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. And the craziest thing about it that the reason is because Fox and USA have an option to, like WWE has to have a certain amount of live shows and they have a certain amount of tape shows, and that tape number, I believe, is 3. Yeah,
3 out of 52 weeks. 3.
So, and it's not this definite.
Seems fair, doesn't it?
Right. And it's not this definite threat like, hey, they're going to take the money from us if we go over it. But Vince is like, we don't even want to put that on the table if they got any type of buyer's remorse, because these numbers ain't exactly been, what they're looking for. Because it's like, you go to network television, you would think, it's going to go up. But,
I think the rule is that they're, this then it gets into demo talk or whatever else, and it's like, Jesus Christ. But I think the number is fine, but they wish more young people were watching it.
So he's basically giving them a form.
Do they know what young people? I have children.
By young, they mean like under 35.
But I'm saying, no, I have children. I have a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old. What WWE provides, young children are not interested in. There's nothing they can do short of not being a fucking wrestling show that is going to get children en masse watching them right now. What they should be doing is taking care of our old asses, because we're the ones that are fucking watching.
Right. That's what we've been saying for years, as as their average or median age has gotten older and older and older, and now they're in the 50s. It's like, y'all say that it's entertainment for kids, but kids don't watch that shit. So now what?
But Keith, you don't want to Keith. I'm not saying go
TV 14. I'm saying okay, can we? That's I don't want to go back to the attitude era at all. But
no,
could we now since if you're gonna do your sports entertainment foolishness and goofiness, or whatever else, fine. Can you make it to where it's more palatable as a person that is an adult? And I don't mean that in no condescending way. But I like goofy stuff too. But it's okay. Focus on the storyline. Let it have a beginning, middle, end, and transition. Don't just do stuff for 3 weeks and then move the fuck on, and then I'm supposed to be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So that's what makes it hard to buy in, because you can't invest, because if you invest, it literally punishes you for investing.
So WWE had a statement to ESPN where they essentially are. And they basically gave their wrestlers a letter to show the police when they're communicating, we are essential media, which is absolute cap.
They gave what?
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
They gave them
I just saw that.
So Vince McMahon gave these boys a letter,
documentation.
Correct. Yep. Our boy Zach.
Slave papers.
He works for facilities at our job, so he's essential, right? My fiance. My fiance, she works for an orthodontics office. She's an essential. She travels with something to show, hey, I have to go to work. My mom, she works at a grocery store. She has a paper. I am essential. I have to go to work or whatever, right? Vince has given these people these papers that says we are essential media, and basically taking advantage of some type of role, the wording for it. Essential media is people that work for the news station,
right?
People that assist, the news or whatever, like people that help set up the cameras to the news station, right? So like, and I don't think you can ignore the politics that are behind this with Florida and Ron DeSantis. Yeah. And if WWE was located in California, I feel like none of this would be happening.
That shit would have been shut down. I don't know how AEW gets away with their shit for BTE.
Yeah. Well, it's in their backyard.
But you still have people driving around to get there to job to them.
Maybe they're just their neighbors or something.
Maybe. I don't know. Look, I'd be real concerned for. If I was Scorpio Sky, I'd be real concerned trying to drive around at this time out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was
Kazarian and Daniel's gonna be fine, but like Scorpio Sky, they'll pull you. What are you doing? You're an essential wrestler. Is that right? Come here.
They actually pulled him over on BTE.
Oh God.
I'm sure.
So they said, we believe it is now more important than ever to provide people with a diversion from these hard times. We are
bullshit
on our closed set with only essential personnel and is following appropriate guidelines while taking additional precautions to ensure the health and wellness of our performers and staff. As a brand that has been woven into the fabric of society, WWE and its superstars bring families together and deliver a sense of hope, determination, and perseverance. It always comes back to the fans, and they're doing
Stephanie wrote it. Stephanie wrote that. Stephanie could put that together. Thank God for Stephanie. Because without him, they could not. Stephanie, listen, she's my favorite McMahon. I will never slander her. She is the greatest bullshit artist.
You saw her opening up WrestleMania. You knew what it was.
Oh, yes, yeah, yes.
Good point.
People like Vince didn't want to show up. No. Stephanie said, "Dad, I got this." No, Dad. Here's where I step in.
Yeah, it's another thing. Like, think about what the company has been the last, I don't know, since they moved back to, or let's say like this decade, right? With Barrios and Wilson being fired, like the public face is now Stephanie until they find somebody full time. So like, yeah, that makes all the sense. It's like the reason why we're able to get better sponsorships in the future was because of Barrios, Wilson, and Stephanie, not because of Vince. Vince will still be out here trying to sell acne cream and shit, or acne face pads.
Let me tell you, people. That's why people like put Shea in charge.
Hell no.
Like Stephanie is the life support. Now Triple H is fucking around. Vince is fucking around, and Stephanie's got her head on straight, eyes on the fucking prize. I'm going to guide these men if he kills me.
Right. Yeah. Now, as far as like the nonsense about what were the last two sentences again? Can you please run that back, Turbo?
Yes. So basically, they came out here and were like, as a brand that has been woven into the fabric of society. I can't dispute that there. WWE and its superstars bring families together. That's cap. And deliver a sense of hope, determination, and perseverance.
Okay, so my thought to that would be:
James, when's the last time WWE has helped you persevere?
Persevere?
Yes.
Not never.
You know what? I'm gonna give them this as an awkward teenage girl. Who, like, I did not feel like I was from here. Wrestling did, like, distract me. And I get what they're saying.
Right.
But understand, you know what I've been doing? I've been on the network. I'm currently, it's muted, but I'm watching SummerSlam 96. I'm binging. So, yes, thank you. But I don't need live wrestling. Right. That's cap. Right. They have so many out. They got too much wrestling. I cannot go through all of the shit they have in the time I have to quarantine. And I had to listen. Okay, let's not. It's kind of political, but my views are extreme, so I don't want to get too out there. But on my daughter's birthday, which was March 21st, I had an anxiety attack because I was working at a restaurant that is definitely not essential, and they were definitely not cleaning properly to like keep us alive. And when I went to my manager, she just brushed me off and was like, so are you quitting? And I was like, I have enough money in my bank account to quit. So yes, I'm quitting. And I never went back to work. So trust me, I'm not out there. I'm not getting a steady income right now and talking shit about what WWE needs to do. I'm fucked up. After June, if I don't get some income, I'm going to be fucked up. But you know what? I'd rather be fucked up and broke. And I can then going out there getting other people sick or getting myself sick, getting my kids sick.
Yeah, I get you.
And this pandemic has exposed so much. Like, people are terrible. People are horrible. Yeah. I want to go in a cave and never come out. Like, or just me and I want our people basically to get the fuck away from these others, because like I'm dead serious.
That's why I'm laughing.
Yes.
Like, I wish we could just all get on one accord and be like, this is the plan, this is where we're going, and we're not letting anybody in. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
But WWE is dead fucking wrong. And at first I was like, yay, they're continuing to WrestleMania and rah. But fuck that shit. No.
Yeah, it's
especially like when I heard, like, I was starting to think, because I didn't even want, like, this shit with Roman and his book in the past year, it's been trash. But I said I wasn't going to keep complaining about it because he's happy, he's flourishing, he came back from leukemia, he come out there, he's smiling, he seemed like he having a good time, so he getting paid, and he is getting paid. It's obvious he getting paid because he's sitting at home right now. He don't have a letter to travel, right. You know. So
go fuck themselves.
Yeah. So I'm happy that he took that leadership position, but it's like, it's so sad that most of them can't do that.
They feel like
right,
because they feel
it's
like
so sad.
Retaliation for, like, all right, well, you left us in the middle of
we're not gonna push you.
Exactly. They're afraid about what's gonna happen on the back end of this.
Yeah, and this is like, you know, one thing I know, like, you're a big Roman Reigns fan. I see you on Twitter, and the thing about, like, Roman, like, pulling out, I came on the show a couple weeks ago and commended him for doing it, and then, you know, you really have to wonder about that, you know, quote unquote retaliation, because it's like, wow, are they going to book him even worse this year?
But this is the thing about Roman. He went. Can you imagine being in his shoes and winning the Royal Rumble with the? But no, I'm saying let's go back to 2005 and being in his shoes and being in the ring next to The Rock, one of the most popular people in the world, and getting shit on.
Yep.
And you know, for the most part, because he done said some couple of things, you know, but for the most part, keeping your head above water and not stooping to a certain level or seeming bitter, and you know, right. so like,
yeah, like the most you got on Roman is like him complaining a couple times about, you know, lashing out by saying stuff like, you know, I got these fucking 30-year-old nerds out here.
But he telling the truth, though.
Yeah, he's telling the truth, but it's also like, I think he said something along the lines like it was a kid's thing, and at the time I was like, if he had just left
sometimes it do
out,
like,
if he just left the kid thing out, it would have been fine.
Yeah, I agree, but
it ain't Seth. Damn sure ain't Seth though.
No. Oh, Seth, poor. But listen, I was like, I was saying, yeah, but sometimes people got to get it out. Right. Now, if it's constant and it keep going on and on and on, you be like, okay, somebody who always whining, which we'll talk about later. But like, I don't think Roman cared. I think he at the point, and we all cracked the code. He got 2 new twins, so he got 2 sets of twins in his house now.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Wait.
That listen. He has 5 kids. Okay, so
I only knew about one.
When he did the video, he said, "Y'all don't know that I got new twins at the house. The twins that was already known about were toddlers. They were born in like 2016 or 2017. Okay. So wouldn't nobody refer to they toddlers as new.
Gotcha.
I'm like, So he got new right.
Big dog don't miss.
I'm not mad. Like, I can't blame his wife though. I can't. So I'm not mad at her. But I believe what happened was he probably was gonna do it and be a company guy. Somebody was sick, probably the Miz. I'm not gonna say it was the Miz, but somebody was sick. He probably called his wife and told her about it. She said, if you don't get in your car and bring your ass home, you're not gonna be able to come home. She was like, you can keep wrestling, but I don't know where you gonna sleep at. So he said, well, gotta go. That's my opinion. The wife put her. I don't think Vince got nothing on Galena. I don't. People one time Roman rarely tweet, but somebody was talking shit about his wife or she was mixed or something, and he came in there and said, nope, I am married to a strong black woman. I was like, this nigga don't even never tweet, but he gonna defend that. Galena,
I do remember
Galena versus Vince. He was like, fuck Vince. I got to go with my wife.
Yeah. And I think him doing that is just like, it's so cool for him to do.
Because he's doing the right thing regardless. Like,
he's doing the right thing. And
like if any of them had done that, had that been Becky Lynch or had that been Brock Lesnar or Undertaker or whatever. Well,
I don't think Brock coming back. You think Brock coming back?
I think Brock will come back if it's like it gets to the SummerSlam situation, which it probably will. But it's like,
and they're gonna have to pay him double. Why? If Brock come back, they're gonna pay him double. Yeah. The match gonna be short as hell. Yep. Brock ain't with it either. Brock ain't trying to get sick. He actually don't. The thing he had, I can't never pronounce.
Diverticulitis.
But, you know, yes. Doesn't that make him like more at risk or something? I don't know.
It actually doesn't.
It doesn't?
It doesn't?
It does not, apparently, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I
mean, it's a GI thing or whatever else, so I think it might be a thing where it can come and go depending on his health at the time or whatever else. So I think it's a situation where, like, if he does have it at the time and then catches that, then he'll be fucked up. But, like, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like stomach herpes in a way. So the shit might flare up on him and then he'll be fucked up if he catches it.
Wow.
But I don't think he will. But I don't, like, my mom has diverticulitis or whatever else. You know when she caught diverticulitis?
When
we were in New Orleans for WrestleMania 34.
Really?
Wow.
What a great trip that turned out to be.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, like, so she, like, so I'm just using it from some of the stuff I know, but, like, it's something that can, like, it can flare back up, but it's not like, you know, if he catches it when he, you know, he's good, then like, it'll be just like anything else. But if he's fucked up and then it happens, then it could be really bad.
Well, I just feel like they would have to, Brock, just because it's happening, he'd be like, you gotta give me pandemic pay. Another $5 million on top of that, I'll show up. But I don't blame him. I never begrudge Brock. I blame him for they pay him all that money, and sometimes he gives piss poor performance. Like, if they paying you like a show pony, you need to be one. Every time you show up. Every single time. I don't care.
We got one rule on this show: like, take Vince McMahon's money under any circumstance.
Right? Like, please take it.
Like, he don't need it. You know, Lord knows he's doing to earn it.
The entire workforce at the labor situation, they're all collectively underpaid compared to what they should be making anyway. So yeah, go get that money. Like when Edge,
like
sticking that
10% of all of their profit or
that's
something.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's such a small percentage of what they actually earn goes to the wrestlers.
Right,
it's fucking ridiculous.
And then, like, you see, you know, historically what has been since really Cena, and it's like they have people they want to push for whatever reason at the time, and they'll push them to a certain level, but they won't try to make them and start creating them in the way that they did, like The Rock, for example. Not saying anyone can reach the levels of The Rock, but like they're not even gonna try to that level. Like, it's almost like Rock left them in 2003 or 4, whatever that was, or 2002, whatever. Again. And then they're like, oh no, we are never letting somebody become this big a damn star, just leave us high and dry.
Yeah, you know.
Unless they don't commit for like 15 years like Cena.
Well, Well, somebody else that recently left them high and dry, we thought, is back in the news cycle for opening her fuck box. And
here we go.
And personally, I've said on the show, I don't care whether Ronda Rousey ever shows up in wrestling again. Completely turned off by the way they used her towards the end. I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan. I was happy when Holly Holmes put the pause on her. I was happy when what's her name gave her the business, Amanda Nunes. It was like you can't even handle it in the fake sport, as you say. You can't even handle folks booing you. So I'm gonna throw it in, like, you know, she was in some interview with Steve-O, I believe,
from Jackass.
I believe so, on a podcast.
Boy.
Yeah. And she comes through and is talking about, you know,
getting that mainstream media attention, huh? All that mainstream media attention. Steve-O from Jackass. Woo. Okay.
Yeah, Scott Hall fingers. Woo. But yeah, she was on there saying the fan, she's never coming back full time because of her, you know, the fans and, you know, people like disrespecting her, and she ran through a whole like litany of like things.
Then she lists some along the lines of like when she got a physical from them, she found out that she had like a partially broken back somewhere.
Yeah, she had something wrong with her back.
Probably and like a transverse deal.
She basically says, she's like, yeah, what am I doing for if I'm not able to spend my time and energy on my family, but instead spending my time and energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me? I mean, she's not wrong there, but she then continues. You know, I wasn't even home when I was, when I was home. Scheduled 200 days a year, and you know, she was like, "There's more to it than you just see on TV." And she loves performing and all this other stuff, but she'll never be full time again. And she just needs to learn it and get immersed in it before she understands what's going on. A lot of fans took this the wrong way, and this led to Ronda responding on Twitter with this statement.
God. Here we go.
The real, and she does hashtag kayfabe killer. Newsflash. I'm not going to steal Tonya's thunder, but she's like, anyone who's outraged by me calling pro wrestling fake fights for fun has never been in a real fight. While you all are tiptoeing around bruising some pro wrestlers' huge soft egos, no one is thinking about all the real, in all caps, fighters you're insulting when pretending pro wrestling is somehow on the same level of realism. Yes, I understand wrestling 300 days a year for years on end is incredibly tough on the body and a difficult profession, but do you know what would happen if you got in 300 real fights a year? You would be dead. These feel like a series of straw man statements because, like, no one was talking about that.
I mean, look, I don't know what's on her Twitter timeline in the monsters and ghouls that message all these women online, public or famous women. So I don't know what she's responding to. If I'm sure there was some fools that said that kind of stuff to her or whatever else, but most of the discussion around it, like, most wrestling fans are all aware that these are fake fights, and they might even bristle at the word fake, but like, ain't nobody finna hold you up, be like, hold on, what you mean, bro? No, like, it's cool, but like, you know, that I think that's what it is when it comes to pro wrestling. Like, you're on Twitter, you're on the road, so all you have to look at is Twitter. You see all this toxic bullshit, and then you think like that's how the whole world perceives people. That, you know, and that's how you get like that us versus them bunker mentality from the main roster folks to the fans, and they feel like they're ungrateful assholes. Like, one, you know that what Vince is having you go out there and do is foolish. And then, like, but you have to soldier up and do it because you cash in that check, you hope eventually that pays off. Then on the other end, you got the company sending y'all all that, you know, politicized bullshit. And then you have to deal with the sad assholes we just mentioned. And so it all balls up and turns to a cycle of us versus them. And it's like, if you in it, I can see how you can fall into that because that becomes your reality.
Tonya, would you think about some of these statements that that Ronda came out here and put down, because I thought you was going in.
Okay, just for a disclaimer, because I thought about it. I just want to make it clear. I don't like Ronda Rousey. I never liked her. But just because I heard her reputation and I did not like her, because I don't watch UFC because I'm not interested. The reason why I watch wrestling, the main reason I watch is because it's fake. So I have no problem with fake work. I prefer simulated violence over real violence. Real violence, I'm like, oh, fuck, no. Simulated violence, I'm with. I appreciate that it is a cooperation. Okay? That's what I'm here for.
Gotcha.
Start off.
It's an art.
Thank you. So, that being said, I don't give a fuck where any of these people come from before they get into wrestling.
Same here.
I just want them to wrestle. I just want them to entertain me. And so if I know it's not real, nothing about your reputation matters to me. I want you to entertain me.
Right.
Now, I will say Ronda has entertained me, but in an ironic way. She is. I'm serious. She stuck out like a sore thumb. It's obvious. She was in over her head. She doesn't know what she is doing. The things she is saying right now, they are called excuses. Ronda Rousey was a heel in UFC. She is used to people talking shit about her,
and she played it up.
Thank you. She says this and gets people riled up, and people are like, well, she's working you. If she come back, she's gonna come back for the money and because it keeps attention on her. WWE has been sold some little story that she actually matters and she should draw. She didn't move didn't either that fucking much over any other woman. I know how to do Google Trends. I know how to look for how people move. Evolution, when Ronda was the champion, did not move tickets until Nikki Bella was announced. When Nikki Bella was announced as her partner, the Bella Army started buying tickets. Half of the crowd was the Bella Army, but we still want to talk. She just fucked her, you know.
That's where the crack started for Ronda. That we called it out at the time.
Yes.
Oh, you mean
that's when the crack started?
When she slut-shamed
her. That's when she was a little engine that could, and it was funny to me, and I was rooting for her. But when she got up there and as a feminist chose to slut shame another successful woman, I was done with that bitch. Cause she controls her creative. She picks that shit. She ain't never gonna lose. Cause if it's fake, why you can't lose?
Right.
Yeah.
Here's my theory though. I just want to say, I think this is the work because she can't hack it. She can't come out and say that. So no, she's never going to come back full time. She's never going to come back like she did because she cannot handle it. She mentally or physically, she can't hack it. And then she was injuring the girls, so half the girls don't even like her. Half the girls don't even want to fuck with her. And when I believe Nia knows. See, the thing about Nia is she knows her privilege and she uses it. And I believe Nia said she gonna fucking stiff her if they put her in the ring together. I believe that. Cause Alexa, like, them girls are friends, and Alexa Law, like, I'm not the biggest Alexa Bliss fan. I don't care if she ever wrestle again, but you're supposed to take care of each other in the ring. That's one of the first things they teach you. And Alexa Bliss lost a year of her career because this woman was just slanging on her fucking head. Sasha Banks had her shoulder separated. When Bayley was going ham in the lead up to Elimination Chamber, they made Sasha Banks wrestle in the Elimination Chamber and win them titles with a separated shoulder. Then they helped put out, after she took a fucking break to heal mentally and physically, that she was being an ungrateful little black bitch. But they will not. But Ronda Rousey white ass can come and shit all over wrestling. But in the same motherfuckers they sit out to talk shit about Sasha, Mark Henry will come out and say, "Y'all love this white woman. Y'all, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all need to love her. You need to respect her." Fuck him and fuck Ronda Rousey. If she need my respect to come back, she'll never get it. She don't need to lace up her boots. I'll be here. Not because of Ronda Rousey, but I'll be here. I don't give a fuck about this woman. They like, well, she's just working you. I didn't like the bitch to start before she ever wrestled. So how are they working me? It's just I would be making fun of her. Listen.
Pandemic. They working.
Let me tell you, I love to see her crack. When Bailey had to come out there and save her because she couldn't get through her promo and she was almost crying, I was laughing. Fuck that bitch.
Same.
Fuck her. She ain't shit. They could have been main evented just because these all white men are sexist, and they needed you to put women in the main event. The fans didn't need that. All them women in NXT did that. Triple H, as much as I can't stand his ass, he fucking did that for women's wrestling. Ronda Rousey came in and ate off people's plates, wreaked havoc, injured bitches, and then went home and cried about it. Fuck her.
I love it. Oh man,
I had to cut a promo on her right quick.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I want Ronda to come back to put over Becky.
Me too, cause she and one of my friends. At first, I didn't believe it, but now I believe. One of my friends said she did that shit on purpose. She was mad about Becky. See, here's the plan, and you could see it from a mile away. Look, when Charlotte first came up, it was always, before Ronda got in the company, one WrestleMania main event would probably be Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. They built it up for years. That's why they put all them titles in sacrifice Sasha's career, sacrifice Becky at first. And that's why they kept pushing Charlotte through. Charlotte won the Rumble this year because she was supposed to win it last year.
Yeah, because promises were made. That's what that was.
Exactly.
Promises were made. Which is funny because it's like, you know how many fucking promises Vince McMahon has told to half the world, but like this one has to be kept. Otherwise, what's gonna happen?
Exactly.
Like even if
it made way more sense. It made way more sense for Shayna to win that Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
It made way more sense for Shayna to win, even though I got my criticism of her. Storyline purposes, it made way more sense for Shayna to win the Rumble. But Charlotte was supposed to win, but Becky got hot, and they couldn't risk it. The heat Becky got, they just couldn't ignore it. But you saw they pushed Charlotte on, and people were like, "Well, Charlotte will make the match good." If you go back and watch that match, Becky was invisible. I don't know. It seemed like they told her not to, she barely had any spots in the match. If you go back and watch, it's so weird to me.
Yeah, like the thing with, and it's also...
That'll probably be her crowning moment, and it's like, what are her highlights? What did they attempt to do in that match to like...
Yeah, like...
Right!
I think the thing with Becky is that, like, Becky, I don't know at what point happened, but like, something, we talk about this often, like at some point something happened to her and basically like her, like just her athleticism just like got zapped at some point, and now she's relying on technical proficiency in storytelling, and that's how she, in the ring, that's why she's such a good technical wrestler, and also brawling now, right? So like that is conducive to one-on-one matches, and that's when she has her best stuff, is her one-on-one matches. Like, really, aside from, like, that TLC match at Triple Threat with Asuka and Charlotte, like, Triple Threats are not meant for her. And that's kind of the same thing with Shayna. Like, Shayna's good with one-on-one matches because she can do the bullying, work over a body part thing, whatever. But you go back to that Survivor Series match when it was Becky and her and Bailey.
Oh
and
my
that
god!
Don't work because she can't do the bullying storytelling.
That seemed like sabotage.
Right? Like, this is classic WWE. Somebody has a certain skill set, and we are going to make you work against that type because we only believe in wrestling our way. The Vince McMahon principles is the only principles you're gonna get on this show. It doesn't matter if it makes the show worse. Yeah, so I think the main thing for me was just like going back to that when you talked about like, yes, that screwed up a bunch of stuff with Charlotte, or it was Charlotte. Like this whole Charlotte thing, like Becky didn't break through the weight or after the fact because that whole build completely nerfed her, right?
Yeah.
The match didn't put her over the way it was supposed to because they did the weird little wonky, shoulders up thing and they played into it. It builds to a potential rematch that we don't know when we ever gonna get it. I mean, I guess it's speculation because it's gonna happen, WrestleMania's in LA next year, that it could be that. But until that comes to fruition, we're still left in the dark, and that means you have to leave Becky on top for 2 whole years to get to that point. That's a long time.
And then who do they give her? Her first feud is for 3 months.
Oh,
green. Right. Terrible, right. Lacey. I was like, it was such a mayonnaise feud. That's what I call it. They gave her a mayonnaise. It was like a mayonnaise feud, like a big ass bowl of mayonnaise. Here you go.
So it's like, and I think the thing to me is like, another thing like I have against it is like, okay, you're gonna bring up Lacey Evans when there's Bianca. There's Io. Get the fuck out of my face with this. This is nonsense. Like, I saw them both have their first televised match in the Mae Young Classic. I saw Kyrie in Bianca, and yes, Kyrie's one of the best one of the best wrestlers in the world. But you can't fake that athleticism. You can't fake all that, and you see how she's improved over that time, and not for one point at any point I've ever seen Bianca Belair, I thought that like Lacey even now was better than her then. So don't give me this bullshit.
Lord have mercy.
Keep in mind, NXT has morphed over the years from being, developmental and a few indie guys we bring in here to kind of like give some credibility and help get these young dudes more reps with vets that know what to do and tell them, do this, don't do that. I don't even know what you're doing. Stop that shit right now. But now it has turned into a super indie itself, whereas all these indie workers, so the only people that are coming up and getting over are people that already established names from the independent scene or from overseas or from somewhere else other than America. And the few people that are special enough that have broken through all of the bad, like, development of talent they've done with their PC acts. So, like, that's Velveteen Dream for the most part, and that's Bianca Belair, and there's a few other people like AOP's a success story of they were green as goose shit, and then eventually by working DIY in a revival, they became big bully motherfuckers, right? Like, I when they first moved up, I was like, I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more than for them to come up. Roman turns heel and says, these are my heaters. God. I'm doing new improved Shield with buff necks. That's what I wanted them to do. But anyway, they are so far behind on developmental and now it's a super indie that like for Bianca to stand out the way she has in NXT to where her and Io were the two gatekeepers where you have to go through them to get to Shayna. Like as a person, right? I thought that like that's very impressive. This is someone that's going to be a superstar. And there's like Lacey, really Lacey like,
Evans.
She's not even over on NXT to put her on TV enough. Like right. Like
as somebody who
it must be 2 developmentals going on.
Let me understand. The thing is what irritated me more than the fact that she was green in the ring is that she was getting so many compliments for her gimmick. And I was like, I know white Southern women who behave like that. She's the woman that they would talk about behind the like sewing circles back because she's unpolished, she slouches. Like, people got mad at me. Like, they were having this thing. I remember when Becky was going up against Charlotte and Lacey. And Charlotte's sitting there in her little pink suit, sitting up like a proper Southern lady. Mm-hmm. And Lacey's all hunched over. And I was like, and I said, and I made a tweet, and I said, Charlotte was sitting there like a proper Southern lady more than Lacey. And all these girls were, like, jumping down my throat. And I'm like, you must not be from... And it's not just all of the South. It's a particular area of South, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, where these type of women that Lacey's supposed to be is coming from. These women don't also go in the garden or wear their dress on a tractor.
I see what you mean.
They don't do that. Like, they could get in a tractor they can do all that stuff. They're handsy and stuff, but they know the proper clothes to wear. They're not wearing like full makeup and high heels and a dress. And I'm like, this is fugazi and it's bunk, and I don't like nothing about it.
Yeah, like
get her out of here.
Like she is basically what you're saying. I mean, you're talking strictly to the class, the class ideal. Like she is clearly comes from a certain class background, and they're having her because of her just being from a certain region, playing something that's a social economic
that she has no idea about.
She's playing a character and just hoping because of proximity she'll be able to grab. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's kind of insulting to proper Southern ladies.
Yeah.
Which she is not. She is a nasty. And this bitch said that nasty was a term of endearment. Yeah, and the women's wrestling, we have been on her neck since then, because she started calling other people. We were like, but it's supposed to be a term of endearment. I said, what happened to that? Now you're using it as an insult.
Yeah. Like, so.
I've never called nobody nasty as a compliment in the South.
Fighting words. Right. Yeah, so one thing about that is like that's classic WWE, where it's like, okay, you have a catchphrase,
pull down version.
Yeah, you have a catchphrase. You have a catchphrase, and then depending on, they don't want you to be a babyface or a heel. They want you to be a pretty much an archetype almost, and then. Like, if you turn heel, we want you to use the same catchphrases to mean one thing, and then when you turn babyface, it means another. Like, the perfect one was EC3 was in NXT. He comes in NXT, being a gigantic body guy.
As the top 1%.
Right. I am in the top 1%.
That's
and
hilarious.
Then the song got so over, and he was such a great, personality that he got over as a babyface, so he turned it, and remember he literally said, like, 1% is a frame of mind, what's the line? Is a way of life. State of mind. It's like, look, if you want to be top 1%, it's about you, believing in yourself and going after, believe you can be the best of the best. It's like, that sounds good, but that's also bullshit, EC3. And that's the same thing with the nasty thing. It's like, now nasty is a term of endearment. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Put up your set.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why, like, when Bayley first changed and people were shitting on it, but now, but Bayley's smart. She was like, she probably was thinking, she probably was lobbying, because at first they turned her heel, but kept her as the hugger, and she probably was lobbying for weeks. Like, man, I gotta change. I can't stay the hugger, and I'm a heel.
People trying to tell me it makes sense. There's nothing about her change. I'm like, no, bro. Like, when you change, you're supposed to fucking change.
And now people praising her now all of a sudden. They're like, oh, she's so funny. She's the best part of SmackDown. I was like, yeah, you had to give her time. Bayley, I never understood.
I wouldn't know. Like, I haven't watched SmackDown.
She's a smart.
Yeah, I don't be watching SmackDown like
SmackDown
that.
Listen,
so bad.
I have
like,
to.
I can't watch
support.
Roman have to carry. I can't watch Roman have to carry Baron Corbin. I can't do it. Can't do it. I just can't. And then like that whole. I just couldn't. And like, I love Bayley to death. Bayley was my favorite horsewoman. But I just couldn't. And so I don't even know if it was good or not, but I'll take your word for
it. Bayley, ever since Sasha took her break, Bayley has been on her bullshit. And I mean that in a very good way.
Okay.
It's like she keeps, like, people like, I never understood. They just want the belt to change. They just want somebody else to get the belt. But then who? So you can complain about the next person that has the belt and you want to go to somebody else? Like, that should be superficial. Becky's title reign has valid complaints. But my complaint is they gave her nothing. They still give her nothing.
Right. And also it's like
we were actually talking off here about something they could do for her. But it would involve her doing something that they don't do well, is like make her look weak a little bit, and then build her back up to come back.
Yeah, like they try. Yeah, I think the thing with Rich, I think you need to call back in. You're roboting out, or maybe you're coming right back. But say what you're saying again. Sorry, your last point. Oh, Rich is roboted out completely, so Rich gonna have to call back.
Okay.
Yeah, Rich is bad. Rich, call back, Rich. But I think the thing with Rich, I think the thing with Becky, for example, is, and this is the complaint I've had for the women's division ever since the Horsewomen came up, or the first three came up, right, in 2015, is like, okay, So you're doing the women's evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But if you're going to split these, if you're going to have a brand split or whatever else, and you're going to, have a division, Don't just have a belt, a champion, and then a challenger, and nothing else matters, or we're not supposed to pay attention to anything. Because no one's ever going to be able to climb up to get themselves over enough to do that. And the last person to really do that was Becky, and that was on sheer accident. They had her win 8 matches on TV. They had her win 8 matches on TV in the middle with her move, and she got over the crowd because the crowd always liked her and thought she got a lot of things. And me personally, as a person that was so happy that she was the first SmackDown Women's Champion, I felt like when they just immediately took the belt off of her for Alexa, and Alexa's not green as hell. I would say still green, but whatever. It was a problem, and like she got, and you flash forward back to that, she got over it, and then like they wanted to pull the rug from under her with Charlotte, and people were like, hell no, we just finally got her back on track. Now you want to do this stupid shit and turn her heel? Fuck that. Boo Charlotte, we want Becky. And then Becky got to this point, and it's like,
and at the same time, Ronda was running through people the same way. Like it's only the chance. It's Hulk Hogan. Like it's like bum of the month. Yeah. And then meanwhile, we don't want to mix Sasha and Bayley in there. Like we don't want to bring her against anyone with any type of credibility, because the second that happens, everyone's going to turn on her, and that's exactly what happened. Like starting with Nikki Bella, then to Becky. Don't let people just airbrush that
and that's what happened.
Survivor Series. Like Becky lighting her on fire.
Oh yeah.
And then Sasha, like you don't play with Sasha. Like by that time the deal was done.
Yeah, I just think that like if this whole Ronda thing, like all this stuff, it's so weird. Is like if you were to tell me in 2013 that like the women were going to be such good wrestlers that you'd be so wrapped up into them, and then like literally like your only real tie to you wanting to even tune in to watch the main roster any way, shape, or form is to watch Kairi Sane, Asuka, Sasha.
It's for the women.
Yeah, and the rest of the horsewomen. It's like I would never imagine that, but it's like, yeah, that's where it is right now, and it's all because like we go back from the Roman situation we've been talking about earlier to Brock Lesnar to everything else. Like they are so like bad at knowing, like it's almost like they know where the destination is. They know what WrestleMania is every year. They always have their plans on what they want to do, and then like so they can set their destination, and then like in the twists and turns, they've changed their minds from all these smaller things week after week to where it leads up to when you get to the big thing, and it's like, why does this not feel like Christmas like it should? Why does it feel like I'm about to open up a pair of socks? And like. Yeah, it's really weird, but I don't even know where we're supposed to go from here now.
So
if Kofi had like they almost did it with Kofi. Like if Kofi had one more week. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because I was sick and tired. Like, get to it. Why are you wasting so much time? Another one for that with the Kofi Mania scene. Like, why is Vince in this? Like, clearly I know why Vince is there, but you won't even approach the subject of why Vince is there, holding Kofi down for arbitrary reasons. Say it or get the fuck out the way.
They almost messed it up.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Right, I was so mad. Why you just say we don't want this little nigga as a champion? Just say it.
So wait, didn't he get the match like the week on the Go Home show? Is that what happened?
Yes, and all that tells me is they didn't have plans for him. They didn't have plans for Daniel Bryan while being the WWE champion. They didn't none of that. Like so. But some other guys that they don't have plans for, or definitely no longer in future plans, to let the lots go of this era. The Revival is free.
You call them the Locks?
Yes, I was like, like when it's trying to get all bad boy, let the lots go, let the Revival go.
Oh my god. Hey, remember when they had? We'll get to it. Remember when they did the Puff? Remember when they did the Bad Boy 20th anniversary show? And they had, and basically, you already know. Like, we don't know this for a fact, but we do know this. Like, Diddy called up all them fools and said, "Hey, remember all them thousands of dollars I owe y'all for the past 15 years, whatever else? we can go on the road and get that money back for you. Never mind the part where like I robbed y'all niggas blind for 20 years. Never mind that part. Come back and sell some merch, and you can relive your prime or whatever else. Make yourself feel young again. Come on stage, get an applause from the crowd. What say you, Look Him? What say you, Jadakiss? What say you, Loon? What say you, G-Dep? What say you,
Dream?
Was Craig dead by that point in time or no? I can't remember. Whatever.
I don't think he was dead, but
yeah, but it's like y'all come back, come through, and it's like Mario Winans, come on, it's like come on, get the fuck out of here, pay what you owe, Santa.
Yeah, so the revival has been asking for their release in some form since the beginning of 2019, I believe.
2019, yeah. So they there was the one story of them like asking for it right at Gorilla. Of course, they did. That's right. Then went on to like start putting titles on them after they tried to embarrass them with the Uzi Hot stuff, and they asked again in January, I believe, and they haven't wrestled on TV since January. They worked a couple of house shows up through February. They were done as of March 1st. Revival was finally free. First, why didn't it work? And B, what are they losing here? You go ahead and take this one. Tonya.
Well, I put out a tweet about why it didn't work. It was never going to. Vince, as long as I've known him, he's never liked gimmicks like that. And like, to me, I got into this whole thing about it because it started me thinking. They were successful in NXT. Triple H, which he does all his talent, he coddled them and he pushed them, and then he dropped them in a shark's tank at the main roster. Triple H gives no advice about how to handle Vince McMahon, and he does all of his talent like this. He does a disservice to them. I think there may have been a way. If they hadn't got the thing that fucked them really bad was one got injured, then he came back, and the other one got injured. Yep. Like Vince was probably done then, but I think it possibly could have worked if they did some tweaks and adjustments. You have to if you want to work for WWE. Like, if you call yourself a lifelong wrestling fan, then you should know Vince taste. You should know. At a certain point, all this advice, all this stuff, like if I know that this shit is not gonna work with Vince, how come Triple H didn't know? How come they didn't know? Like sometimes, like I just don't. You can't expect Vince McMahon, who been running his show for 30 plus years, this way. Or all of a sudden he gonna like wrestling that he been making fun of for 30 years. I never like when I was watching him in NXT, I said, this is cute. This is a small room act in Vince's mind. This is a small circuit wrestling act that is fodder for his larger than life characters. That's what the Revival is. He almost did that to Stone Cold Steve Austin of all fucking people, but Steve Austin's charismatic as hell, and they're not. If the Revival, if either one of those guys was charismatic as hell, they could have made it, but they're not. They're good wrestlers.
I don't think they would have made it either because of their bodies. Even if they were charismatic, they wouldn't have made it. Like, because Vince is like, nah.
I mean, Stone Cold don't have the best body either.
He was cog diesel.
Yeah.
97.
He was tall. You're right. He wasn't chubby either. They kind of chub.
Yeah, they're skinny.
They could have lost 10. Like, I'm sorry. White wrestlers, I don't. If you leave WWE and your biggest complaint is creative, let me play the smallest violin. Your biggest issue. ACH had a shirt made about him. They gave him a nigger shirt. They gave him a coon shirt.
That's going to be on the best of One Nation Radio.
Oh, yes.
2020.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I cannot cry no tattoo tears for these white men who are going to get looked over the black guys anyway. To sit here and him, Dean Ambrose, CM Punk, like CM Punk lied and embellished about his health When really, if I had a knot on my ass that was draining, nobody could tell me what to do with that. I'm getting it drank. Like, why are you sitting here getting sick, keep taking bumps? Ain't you a grown man? Like, where's your brains? I didn't understand that part of it. Like, he was out
here living by something.
So that's his fault. That's how you gonna blame WWE? Like, seriously, if y'all had a knot, you had a knot on your back that was this color and was making you sick, you was gonna keep working. You keep going to work. I don't even have to fall on my back, and I know I'm not gonna keep it on there.
Well, I would say this. I think a lot of them dudes, are wrestling with
brainwashed.
Yeah, they're brainwashed because it's like the whole idea of, look, I don't want to let people down, but really, or that's one thing. But the main thing is like, if I leave, my spot will be gone.
My spot. That's why Roman Reigns kept pushing his hernia. Listen, when I found out that he kept pushing his hernia back in to go wrestle and it almost killed him, I said, I'm never going to hate him. I might not, but I'm never going to hate this dude. Like, I was like, that is crazy. Like, how could you know? Go to the hospital.
Right.
What is... But if your biggest gripe in the Revival, unless they sit down and talk about how they've been harassed like Mario Ronaldo, but they covered that all up, gave him a job again. Like if you've been mentally tortured or shit like Sasha, which I think they invalidate her to the point where she needed that break. Like it's deeper shit going on than what they putting on the books for you. So if that's your biggest concern, you are blessed and highly favored. Now go take your other big money job in another company with more white dudes that whined about their creatives. Like, it's people real life getting harassed and shit in WWE. I don't give a fuck that they made you do Uzi Hot. You didn't have to do that. Like, the grown Vince McMahon, actually, if you nut up, you probably would get pushed better. That's what John Cena said, but everybody came to... John Cena said that in so many words. He sat down and did an interview. I think it was like a podcast with, I think it was Mankind or Shane McMahon, somebody. And he was like, he almost got fired. But then he saw how the culture was and he adapted and he nutted up. And certain, like, other black rap, like, he stole shit from, like, a black wrestler would say something, but he's the rapper, one with the rapper gimmick. They can't use that. He got to use that. And some people will look at, oh, so, but that's the jungle. You in the jungle. You got to be you gonna be the lion or you gonna be the gazelle. That's the world that Vince McMahon operates in. So I'm not surprised he's still running during the pandemic. But who you see all these people still going in because they're scared. But the dude that's on all the posters, he's like, fuck that, I'm gonna be at home.
Yeah, no, with the Revival, like, I think it's amazing, like, in how all the, things, like, what were the Revival's best moments? None of them were on the main roster. Like, nothing. Like, people listen to all these great matches they had.
Their career was over, Susie.
Yeah, like, and that's the reason why,
it was over.
Yeah, and that's the reason why, like, I said to you for like that whole year when they were doing that American Idol stuff and the DIY stuff, I was like, cool, they're having great matches. Like, DIY Revival 1 and 2 are probably two of my 5 or so favorite tag matches of all time. Like, that's cool. But, like, the second these dudes come up to the main roster, they're DOA. And I will say this. When they brought them up and then they injured Kofi with the angle, and I was like, okay, cool. And then they get fucking drafted apart from each other. It's like, oh, hold on. So you guys shoot this fucking angle, this injury angle that's supposed to basically now be like, now it's 2-on-2, even though New Day don't cheat when they're baby faces. And now they're basically going to fight because they just hurt Kofi. And then you split them up, put them on different rosters. Okay, let's see how it goes. One of them gets hurt. Okay, they're definitely done because Vince thinks you are a liability unless he likes you once you get hurt. So, sure enough, comes back, the other one gets hurt. What the fuck? Okay, let's see what happens when they come back. Let's see what happens when they come back. And then
Raw
they come
25.
back. And they come back, and then Raw 25 happened, and like even Uncle Hunter's burying his own children, right? So it's like, okay, they're done. I don't give a fuck. There's no chance. Like, I knew they'd had. I thought the best case scenario for them was they're going to go out here and have good matches.
When X-Pac gets offense on you,
yeah. So I'm like, I thought that their best case scenario was, look, Vince don't care about tag team wrestling. He don't care about wrestling either. But these dudes they used to be called mechanics. Those dudes are very good mechanics. Can they be tag team Cesaro where they come in, somebody can go out there and go X amount of time with somebody on TV, they have themselves a good ass match and gives them as momentum to be a challenger for a title or keeps the champion hot by having a good ass match in front of a crowd. They didn't even want to do that. They did. I mean, I think the only real success they really had was like when they were basically heaters for Orton. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was like a year and a half ago, man.
Yeah, that's like the most success they ever had. Like, but as far as like them being one of the best tag teams in the world, and they're around the Usos and they're around the New Day, and like can't give them X amount of time, and New Day and Usos I think are the two best tag teams in WWE history. Can you just put them with those two teams and then have a feud or a match on pay-per-view or on a big spot on a show and just go out here and let them tear the house down? Nope.
They never wanted to let them try.
That's my point. They said, nope, we're only going to let them do what they wanted or let them have those kinds of matches on house shows where no one can see it. And it's like, but they're heels. They're just going to lose at the end. Who gives a fuck, Vince? Just let them go out here and just lose to the stars. What's so hard about that?
So I don't think it's a secret where they're probably headed. Like they're probably headed to AEW. Yeah. I can't wait for that because that is Tony Khan does like wrestling and he loves tag teams, as you can see by that immense tag team roster that's building AEW. So I'm very excited. We get this Bucks Revival match that's been hinted at for years and years.
Lord, listen, that's why I can't watch that show.
Oh, because of the Young Bucks? Did we lose her?
Did we lose her?
No, just because it's a lot. I'm not crazy about tag team wrestling either. I like tag teams, but I don't care about like the tag team. I don't care. I can have a whole show with no tag team matches. That'd be fun.
I'm good. I just like wrestling in general.
I don't know. It's weird. I never cared that. I never cared that. Like I care about certain teams, but like
I get you. Yeah, going expansive as they have done. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I think the thing for me is like tag team wrestling. I can take it or leave it, but I will say is I think that like if you have somebody, I think it's valuable for somebody like a Seth Rollins or whoever else that is like was at the top for a certain amount of time and they need to cool off somewhere. Throw them with a person, a tag team, and then have them basically being like, and when they did Ambrose and Seth and Raw against the Bar in 2017 is like. That's a good spot for you to do to utilize that. Where it's like, look, we can't. You're right now. We don't really have nothing for you, or we don't want to do nothing with you as a single right now. You grow up with somebody else that's kind of not doing much or whatever else. Y'all get together, and because y'all are very talented, y'all basically go out here and have a match with no rest holds, more or less, and then y'all tear the house down. It's very simple. And so, like, I see the value in that. I think, like, when it comes to AEW. I think a lot of that is because that works for their fan base because their fan base wants very good, high-paced wrestling. And, like, most of the AEW fans, NXT fans, too, are frankly just like, we're watching Vince's Wrestling Factory and we got so tired of, basically got burned out by the nonsense. So we can just go to this and this is what we more like out of our wrestling. So we take it like a fish to water. And like, that's why I love watching Dynamite because it's like in NXT is like, I don't have to be like, wait, what just happened? What? No, that really Bray Wyatt just came out of the cell out of nowhere. That's what,
that's the finish.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm glad this for the revival's sake, for WWE's sake. Like, clearly they're not happy. Them being on the payroll doesn't make them happy. No matter how much money you throw at them, which it seemed like it was exorbitant amounts. That's not good for your business. That's not good for them.
Mm-hmm. What was the last thing they turned down? What was it?
I think it was like $750,000 each.
Yeah, that's what it. Yep. Because remember, that's what Anderson and Gallows took. They went out and took prime Shawn Michaels '90s money to stay. Imagine paying them niggas that kind of money,
right? And you ain't gonna do nothing with them. So that it's like,
right.
And that's the whole thing with Barrios and Wilson's departure, which I found like kind of interested and buried in there. It's like, yeah, Vince spent a lot of money on stuff that doesn't make sense, like people you aren't using. So, yeah, I'm excited to see the revival.
I think that what happened was they looked at their portfolio and looked at how nice it was sitting up and pretty, right? And then they look and they're like, wait a second. So we were going to do well with our stock price because the price to pay the talent was so low. AEW comes in, y'all are paying people over like near 3 times their actual real worth. To kick them to States and they don't leave you for people you're not even gonna push anyway. Hey Vince, this is dumb. Stop doing this shit. Oh, you want me out of here? All right, I'll take my severance.
Yep. Holla. Yeah. So I guess the next thing to talk about is Gargano and Ciampa had their big match and everyone hates it except James. So
or Brian Alvarez or Vinny or Meltzer.
So I didn't watch the match. I heard it get brutalized across numerous outlets. James, it's all on you, man.
Yeah, it's a 48-minute match. It has 7 commercial breaks.
It wasn't good.
It's coming days after we got the Edge and Orton thing, and it's basically a much better version of Edge versus Orton. The problem is Edge vs. Orton absolutely sucked and is one of the worst big matches of the year, maybe the worst big match of the year in all the world. So it does better than that. And another thing is like NXT has this thing to where like Triple H / Shawn, and this is funny because like most of their big matches end up singing and people, don't say anything. But when their matches don't hit the way are disappointing, mostly like these third chapters of these Johnny Gargano matches, is because they overindulge in over-dramatic stuff. So, you have all the over-dramatic stuff that happens in Johnny Gargano matches. You have, and also NXT main events. Then you throw in the fact that, like, no one can win when they're outside and they're fighting on top of a trailer because you had to go back into the ring to win it. So it's like you're just sitting there for 10 minutes like, all right, they're throwing punches at each other, now what? And you have the Jim Cornette staple of if there's a no DQ match and there's a chair shots or whatever else, you can get heat, but by the time you get to the 7th chair shot, the crowd gets numb to the shit you're doing. So they're beating the fuck out of each other, and at a certain point, you're just like, okay, now what? So the first 10 minutes of the match is very good. The last 15 is great, and all the time in between that, in the middle, is just like you're waiting for it to get over with. So I understand why somebody would be like, yeah, I think this match stunk. I think this match was not good. I understand that. I liked it. I thought it went way too fucking long, especially when we were outside. Them going outside was like fucking dumb. So y'all can go wherever y'all want to from there.
Yeah, Tonya, what'd you think of the match since you actually saw it?
Oh my God! I think you summed it up really good. I feel like you were waiting for, like you knew it wasn't over yet,
Right.
And I think it should feel like at any point in a match somebody could win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You shouldn't be looking at the clock during a match. Like, I've seen hour-long matches that were good, and I wasn't looking at the clock.
Right.
I don't know how you do that without a crowd. I don't.
That's a good point.
I think you, like, I don't know why they think that would have been a good option to go long with no crowd. I think it should have been shorter than that. And I think they should have been, like, people were like, well, they want to hurt each other. I'm like, but these motherfuckers been hurting each other for 2 years. They should want it to be over. Right. You know what I'm saying? They should be going for the kill, not savoring and calling each other daddy. Man, I don't give a fuck. Like, and then the thing at the end with Candace, I'm like, what?
Another babyface room.
Where is Vince Russo? Is Vince Russo hiding under the ring? This is some WrestleMania 15 shit. Where you think she turning on Johnny, but she really turning heel with him. That's what they did with X-Pac. That's what they did with Triple H. That's what they did with Triple H in China. China had went to the corporation, and Triple H faced Kane. I know because I just binge watched WrestleMania. The Triple H faced Kane, and China came down and supposedly turned on Kane, and they were back together. So now DX back together. So then X-Pac had his match with Shane McMahon, and that's when Triple H and China turn on him and join the corporation. So it's like all these switcheroos so close together. Why are you trying to make me think this is wrestling? It's not supposed to, you're not supposed to be thinking that hard.
It's convoluted.
Why would she ever kick her husband in the nuts? Ever. That's her husband. In his nuts. I would never kick my man. I would slap him. I would beat him up. I would never kick him in the nuts. We got to make up. That's not. Like, and then he wearing a cup, but they faking, and then the overacting. Yeah. I don't like them anyway. Just let me. Like, I'm not a fan of. I call Johnny Gargano Johnny Vanilla. They tried to make him Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan is better than him. Stop it. Cut it out. He is not Daniel Bryan. They tried, and then the fans turned on him. They tried so hard, and then the fans started chanting Johnny Failure at him.
Oh, yeah, because Vince, because here's the thing.
Then they turned him heel, back face, back heel.
There we go.
He's not interested.
That's what we're getting at.
He likes superheroes. He's average. He's an average white guy. Why are they not pushing Keith Lee? Why are they not pushing Matt Riddle? They spend so much time on this guy.
Okay,
because Triple H can't live through Keith Lee. He can't push him. He can't live through Velveteen Dream. He don't know what that feels like to be a black man.
He could have lived through Matt Riddle.
I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to figure out why this is even happening.
Because Riddle has heat.
But why I don't think so. Because he is square and Matt Riddle is anything but.
Yeah, I'll say
Triple H don't.
Gargano, like he's built like he's been in NXT for so long. Right?
Triple H probably he ain't pushing guys. He's not pushing guys. He would.
Did we lose her?
I'm not sure. I think so.
He need to stay there. He would no. You talking about the revival on the main roster?
Yeah. So I'll say this for Johnny. Like, there's a value.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I think we got you on a little bit of a delay, but I'll say this for Johnny, like, he's been there so long and he's had so many great matches that it's kind of like the person that Triple H kind of just ties a flag to, essentially. Like, I know you can deliver, a great match. So he's always going to get his time. He's always going to do this, but he's like this whole thing here. It's like, I thought this was going to be the last one. Like, how, like, and it clearly doesn't feel like that. I'm like, hold on, you're doing a turn at the end. He wins. The bad guy wins again. And it's like, are they going to do another match now after, like, pumping this, like, one last beat thing? And I'm just like, I'm over it at this point. It's like, they've never had an actual regular match. They're always doing these death matches. And it's like... good.
At least the first match they had was mostly a wrestling match in that had elements of it, as opposed to the last two, or the Chicago 2 match and the Brooklyn 4 match, where they're just flat out spectacles of all anything goes, beat you with shit type stuff. And those matches were very good, but the second one was a classic, and then the second one and then the third one was great, but it was disappointing because it was supposed to be the blow off, but then this fucker Wile E. Coyotes himself off the thing, and that's the thing about these. I think that's actually the end. I think that's how this one's going to end, because you look at their feud, and their feud has always been based around Johnny at every single point has proven to be the better wrestler, the better brawler, whatever else, or he's had him beaten at the moment of truth. And then, because Triple H is a fucking heel by heart, he doesn't know how to have a babyface just win and then move on with his life. He always has to have a motherfucker backdoor and banana peel or whatever else, because that's what he was his career. He was never the guy, so we had to have The Rock fucking get kicked in the dick or whatever else by Vince or whatever else. So Now Johnny's the heel in this situation, so Johnny needs to win instead of Johnny just beating the less evil guy. Like, I guess that's really what his heel versus heel feud. The less evil guy. We have to come up with a situation where it's like, all right, we have to give Tommaso Ciampa an out, and the out is they've beat each other up with so much shit, and in this story, it's always been Candice has always been like the real guiding force of Johnny and telling him like, hey man, you need to go get your career back, or you need to tighten up, or you slipping here, or I'm thinking of divorcing you by like tag team with this fucker again, like last year, right? So she comes out and says, you know what, I hate my husband, and this is supposed to be like the thing where you're supposed to believe, like, wow, like, look what they've done to each other. Like, they're both heels now. They're both totally dislikable. I shouldn't like either one of these guys. Like, maybe they just stopped in the middle of this match and become tag team heels. But I remember that package that she handed him, so I'm like, when she kicked him in the dick, I was like, he has a cup on. Like, I knew the finish the second it happened. And then it happens, like, she kicks him behind, and then he hits him with Ciampa's own finish, and wins the thing. And I'm like, well, that would be a great finish to the first match in a feud. But this, I feel like this is a blowout. I don't think they're ever going to touch each other again, because why would you? Like, that fucking matchup is cursed. They screwed it up the first time on the build towards Johnny going to the title. When they did the first 3 matches or whatever else, they had to turn them heel because they were going to do a triple threat match. And then Alistair got hurt, and they said, let's just blame that on Johnny, have Johnny turn heel, and then we'll just have have that match finally at New York. And then your boy breaks his fucking neck, and so he's gone. They were like, well, we're always going to come back to this match. It's like, y'all missed y'all window. What don't you understand? And it's like, yes, if it was in front of a crowd, I do think they would have had another classic. But it was in front of a crowd, and they said, let's go 48 minutes with 7 commercial breaks and a hardcore match that not falls count anywhere, and have them fight all around this fucking place, and then come back in the ring. And so it's like, I'm of two minds with it. It's like, I hate it at one moment because it's like that's a cheap finish for a blow off, and two is like, well, they've screwed Johnny with all these shitty finishes when he's a babyface that had to get match 1 where he gets DDT'd, he gets caught getting DDT'd on the match with a motherfucker with handcuffs beats him, or a motherfucker with handcuffs ducks out the way so he breaks his kneecap so he can't get up to beat the 10 count. So it's like they fucked it. This is just a continuation of all the times Triple H has fucked it at the end. So it's like, this is in fitting with the narrative of this whole feud and all their matches. This is fitting in, it makes sense. But like, is it enjoyable necessarily? Not really. Like, I'm looking at the women's division now. It's like, okay, Candice is a heel.
Oh yeah. And we'll get to that. And it's like, now Johnny Gargano, she's just evil Johnny Gargano's wife now. Like,
yeah. I mean, but I will say this: I do like the idea of that more than like, oh,
but she with his.
Oh, but I do like the idea of that more than, okay, like, I look at AEW and I see Cody as like the best babyface in the world at pro wrestling at this point in time, while we got like Brandy out here doing this shit with or was doing that shit with the Nightmare Collective, and it makes no sense because they're married. How the fuck does that go together? That's incongruous. So it's like, at least like that makes sense, but it's like, is that more enjoyable? No.
Tonya?
Why do you I have a question. Why is it that in wrestling overall, but just because these people are together, they have to be together? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like have connections. I think it's because they want to make it be quote unquote something you can buy as believable or whatever else, or not, but like, we don't want to. Okay, so we want to have some level of realism in our wrestling, and like, let's say, well, actually, let's do this. What particular promotion are you talking about, or were you mostly asking this question?
I'm just saying, just saying overall. Now the shit with Brandy, it doesn't make any sense. Like, if she was just a wrestler herself, singular as a heel, and didn't want to do, but she's doing like takeover, evil schemes, and like,
right.
Of course, that's weird. Like, he'd be like, Cody, what, you don't see this? You don't see what she did? Right. Now, if he was a face and she was a heel, and they would just, you could have interesting conversations where she'd be like, "This is my career. You tend to yours."
Right. Yeah, like, I mean,
so I don't think necessarily just because he's a goody two shoes and he wants to follow a certain path in his career, why his wife has to, or even if she wants to do something, why the husband got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I think I think there's absolutely a way to do that, but like I think
WWE is not capable.
Exactly. That's what I was getting to. Like when they talk about like Sonya Deville and Mandy and possibly having a romantic link or whatever, a romantic relationship. Like, look, there's more than enough room to do that. I do not trust Vince McMahon and 50 other dudes to come up and to come up with it. Especially when it's going to come back filtered through Vince's mind. There's going to be something ridiculous, right? So,
or the Ultimate Warrior's wife, either.
Ooh.
That's the only woman. Like the Ultimate Warrior's wife. They were like, she's on the writing team. Yeah. I don't know if she still is, but I'm like, if she is, I'm like, I don't trust this woman to write from a black woman's perspective.
Right. I think
and they have plenty of black women. They don't understand Naomi. They'll never push her. Because she is way too niggerish for them. I'm glad. Let me just say, I just wanted to touch on this. I just wanted to touch on this about gimmicks. What you guys saying, like they want to take gimmicks and just whether you're a heel or a face, this is your gimmick. Mm-hmm. Naomi fought for the glow gimmick for 4 years because she knew she was a natural baby face, and that's what she should do. And if they ever turned her heel and tried to keep up with that glow gimmick, I am through. I'm going to go to Vince personally and be like, what the fuck? No, she has to not do this anymore to be a heel. I think that's why she pushed for it, so she could stay a face.
Do you remember Tina Bad when she was out here and her gear was like basically black leather with like different bandanas? So it was like, okay, what's that you throwing up this time, Naomi?
Right.
She hit the dance move on the setup on you boys.
But you know what? I think she didn't want to be a heel. No, and she was like, I'm just gonna get. And she was like, I'm just gonna give them what they want. I'm gonna put on bandanas and wear snatchbacks and be ghetto. I think she gave in. I really do. Yo, and thank God for Sasha and Tamina because Naomi was gonna break when she was a heel, but thank God because she was gonna quit and everything. But I'm so glad. Yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. We always welcome Naomi.
But get back to the point about like the Brandy and Cody thing when they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, or Candice before this heel turn thing is like. I think that you can get away with that, as you asked, like, why can't they do that? I think you could get away with that if you just basically have, like, one sit-down promo, or not a sit-down promo, but, like, one, backstage segment where, like, all they have to do is one of them ask questions the other about, like, what the fuck are you doing right now, right? And he explains it as, like, I'm not happy about this, but I can kind of see your perspective. But they don't want layered nuance or anything else. And then, like, I think maybe, like, you could do that, but like I remember when they did the lashing thing with Cody, and like they had just wrapped up and completely just 86 the Nightmare Collector thing because it was killing the show for segments or whatever else. And they do the lashing thing, and then at the very end, Brandy comes out, and I'm like, what the fuck? They didn't even acknowledge that she was just evil a second ago. She was evil like 2 weeks ago. Now she's coming out and she's supposed to be like, this man's backbone is strength. It's like, I get that from their particular relationship, but like, what about me as a viewer that just saw her evil it up and ruin
that's why
AEW women's match or whatever, so just come out here and do this? Like, am I supposed to not remember this? Oh, y'all all cool with it? Okay, fine. All right, whatever. It worked, so whatever. I'm just wrong because it worked. Whatever.
I thought that was the best part.
You ain't shit.
I watched everything. I thought it was the best part.
The thing with Candice, to me, though, I've never liked, is that Triple H, I knew about Candice before she came to NXT, and I was scared for her because she did a lot of intergender wrestling. That was kind of her thing. That was what she was kind of known for. So when she came, and she was just Johnny Gargano's wife. Yep. And that's all she been. She wrestles good, she's cute, she wears pink stuff, they like cute things, and they're married. Yeah. She has no depth to her. And so I understand why they did this, but I wish they could have did the total opposite. And she had to told her husband, you know what, you can go down in flames, and I'll be over here trying to become NXT Women's Champion. I don't have. I'm not even paying attention. That's what she should have did from the jump. Don't involve me. She should have told Ciampa, I don't care. Kill him. I'm over here trying with because like she's been distracted.
Remember,
she ain't had a career because of this feud.
But remember that
she's been robbed because of it.
At the end of it, she comes in the ring and says, "Look what you fucking have done! Look what you two idiots have done to yourselves! Like you have basically ruined each other's lives with this full feud." And then she says, "Like, all right, you have the advantage right now, Ciampa. End it." And then like it was like both. I guess the idea was both of them are supposed to be like. Candy's supposed to be the better sense of both of these idiots because, you know, they all acknowledge that they all live together at some point. So she's like, end it. Oh, you can't? I'll finish it then. And then, like, sucker them with that way. But it's like, Candice isn't a good promo. That's the reason why they haven't done much, like, layering with her. Aside from, like, you know, the stuff. Except for the stuff with her connection to EO crossing her and with the Dakota turning on Tegan so she wants to fight Dakota because like all three of them were close friends. Like she's on like the only depth she has is like her connections and friendships. But as far as like her promos, it's not a good promo. So I understand why they did do that with her. But like at the same time, you've been around a long time for us to just like be able to sit down with you and then like you can like do a fake sit down interview where you explain yourself beyond like being Johnny Gargano
to know right. We don't.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, with this feud, I don't think this is the last match.
I wish like she had just they kept.
I think they're going to do it again, and I think that they are
in front of a crowd, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I think they've got to do it in front of a crowd again, and hopefully that can be like what we can get a fucking winner. Like, and maybe it's a regular rules match. You know, how about that?
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Like, let's. This is how I feel. All of these matches, aside from all these matches that Johnny Gargano has made and had classics involved in, they're traditional wrestling matches. They're, you know, like there might be some Gaga or whatever else you call it, like was Zelina Vega getting involved or whatever else that added to the heat for the match or whatever else, or Candice, clearing out and equalizing Zelina or whatever else. But for the most part, like his tag matches, like the DIY revival stuff, the DIY AOP stuff are like typical classic and also like the stuff with Cole or Ciampa or whatever else is like, look, regular match or 2 out of 3 falls match or a ladder match. But like as far as doing these flat out brawls of going around the crowd on that kind of stuff, that's where they failed. Like he's nicknamed Johnny Wrestling for a reason because he may be the best technical wrestler in the world, and that man might be the best wrestler, flat out wrestler in America right now. So let him wrestle. All his great matches are wrestling matches. You've done this now like 4 different times. Only one time is worked with these goofy or these extracurricular super DDQ matches or whatever else. So learn the lesson, Triple H, Shawn, whoever else is in the back, keep insisting on him having these super ridiculous matches. That's what I would say. Let Johnny Wrestling wrestle in regular wrestling matches instead of this other shit.
Yeah, I'd be furious if like Kenny had to do exclusively death matches for like his like main feud forever.
Right. Yeah,
and I was thinking about that Kenny and Moxley match from Full Gear. That was Full Gear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about like, look, I will never watch that match back again. But that match had story. You cannot say that match is devoid of storytelling or was boring. This was basically that same match, except at different points for half of the match, especially the middle part, it was not interesting like how that Kenny match was. It had storyline elements in it or whatever else, and it wasn't nearly as graphic or violent. So it's like, okay, what are we talking about now? Like, granted, like I just it's a disappointment. It's one of the biggest disappointing matches of the year. Like, I think it's overstated when people say like it's like the worst match of the year or one of these worst match of the year contenders. I think that it is a 3-star match that went 48 minutes, and a 3-star match that goes 48 minutes is a match that went over 15 minutes too fucking long. So that's so like when people say this other stuff, I think it's overstated. But like that's where
I said the worst match of the year.
A lot of people feel that way.
Did they see
Edge Orton?
Yeah, Edge Orton was like
no, it was
Christ.
It was just no, I don't know why. I kind of I expected it from Edge Orton too. Like it's Randy Orton. I don't. I don't know what people. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
It's Randy Orton. Like,
I agree.
People get happy when he puts in effort. Like I don't know.
Like when he tries that.
And like he have fire fuse and you get all into it. I don't. I be like, yeah, that's nice, but the match probably ain't gonna like. If his match be fired, then I'd be like, yeah.
Oh man.
Him against Christian, they had a fire match. Him and Daniel Bryan had good matches.
Him and Roman. I like him and Roman's SummerSlam match from 2014.
It was
his Luke Harper match from Elimination Chamber 2017. Let's see.
When he was tagging with Bray. Hardy. When he was tagging with Bray, yeah, that Hell in a Cell man, he cared. He really it seemed like Randy Orton really liked wrestling Jeff Hardy because he just got sadistic and he went there. Yeah, like he really fucking cared against Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, like it's
only twice.
All right, so what's next?
So the last thing, I really had, Britt Baker has recently kind of made a breakthrough. She's looking like she's the #1 merch seller on Pro Wrestling Tees throughout the sale that they've done. And it comes at, opportune time, a taped match. And she ends up getting her shit bust in the middle of an awesome match with Hikaru Shida. And, what kind of started with Britt is she's on shaky ground, being looked at as she's the person that's on the posters, and you see her, and then you immediately are thinking oh shit, this is who they are getting behind. And they never had any qualms about beating her, even while she was a babyface like that. So I think it's very interesting how she's recovered, and I've liked Britt from the beginning, and I think that she's hit a new level, especially with all the promos that she's done and really owning that character, the Tony Schiavone thing and the dentist thing, it flipped as a heel now. And it came together in the ring this past week in a way that I think shocked a lot of people.
Yeah. So I think the thing for me was, and we talked about this off air right before we got into it, was we saw her twice of WrestleMania weekend last year in New York. We saw her at Shimmer 113 against Tessa Blanchard, which is right? Yo, but anyway, they had a great match, right? And then later that same day, she was in the Stardom show. She was filling in a tag match, and her tag team lost because that, obviously. So, it's somebody that we've seen and saw, this is one of the better women that aren't signed to, and, she did the NXT stuff, whatever else, as a, person comes in and gets jobbed out. So we were like...
I knew she was with AEW. They announced her, January 8th.
Okay. Okay, I didn't make that connection, but, this is somebody, from the first time I saw her, this is somebody that should be on TV somewhere, right? So, flash forward to AEW thing, and it's all right, well, it looks like Britt Baker and Kylie Ray are going to be, at the top of this division, and then they're going to bring in other women or whatever else, hopefully better women, more experienced women, to try to get them, up to speed, because, that's the thing with the women's wrestling worldwide, especially in America, or actually I take it back, in Europe and America, is there's plenty of places for dudes to come out here and get their, however many matches you need to get up to speed. And in this day and age, you probably need 70 to 100 matches a year if you're starting out to try to develop. We have so much more, technology as far as being able to watch wrestling around the world that you can get better a lot quicker than back in the day. Back then, it took you 2 damn years to get good. It wasn't line with 400, 500 matches before you could actually be worth a shit in wrestling back in the 80s. That sounds absurd now. But
that sounds like a slow-moving snail's pace way of development. And this is why matches are so much better now.
Right. So, just back to that, is okay, so this is a person that is going to need help along the way, but there's, Japan has all these women that have hundreds of matches already. They're not even 25. So they brought in like Riho, Hikaru Shida. They brought in Nyla, who's also a person that needs more matches, and like clearly has room for growth and potential. And it's like, all right, like these are the people that are pushing at the forefront, whether it's Britt or Kylie at the time before she left quickly, and Britt is like, okay, they're basically telling these women to go sink and swim because they're only getting one damn segment per show, and like they have their match or whatever else, and then they're sandwiched between like whatever match has 1,000 flips in it, or some Kenny match that's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's one of the best matches this month. So like to see her, you know, be presented as a babyface, and like I really enjoyed that Britsburg thing. If a special was a thing that I was like, I don't care what's going to happen years from now, I'm always remember Britsburg, and it's like one of those things like, the hometown girl comes home, and they played it up in a way that, like, you wish they would do with Sasha in Boston or Charlotte in in Charlotte or whatever else.
Charlotte.
Yeah, Bailey in San Jose. They never really do to that extent. Like, I think the most you ever did with Charlotte was
they buried Bailey in San Jose.
Exactly, right? Like, the really only thing you did with Charlotte is, like, when she won the SmackDown title back from Natalya, and then Flair came out after Flair's sickness, or near-death experience in 2017. But
yeah,
it's like, I'm going to always remember that. And, like, they have a nice... They played little nice things or whatever else, like, nice character moments for these wrestlers or whatever else. But it still wasn't working the way it should. And that's when you get the B. Priestley thing, when she gets the promo, is like, you're a fucking dentist or whatever else. Like, your whole personality, and the only thing they put over it with you is you're a dentist or whatever else. So then, it starts coming as like, all right, she's not that good compared to the rest of these girls they bring in to kind of help, like, to move her up and develop her. So why are we even doing this? And then they turn her heel, and since she's turned heel, it's like night and day. Like, you see why they believed in her to begin with when they turned her heel, because, like, you see that she has a personality, you see that she has smart wit, you see that, like, the way that she turns heel, like, she's being a snob to you in classes, and it's like,
she looks like a star,
right? While doing it, while looking the part of a, like we were talking about, just the Southern Belle thing with sassy Southern Belle thing with Lacey. It's like,
yep.
She plays that up in a way. She plays that up as like, look, I'm accomplished. I'm educated. I'm well spoken. I'm everything that this division needs. I am a quote unquote role model, and like rubs it into you. And it's like, all these other women you like more than me, I'm better than them, and you should actually like me. While playing into the up that hill character, and that's why it's working so. And then also, the situation with Tony, where she buried Tony, saying that man used to be a Starbucks barista or whatever else, and then
every city she was going to, just flaming them, like just like it was like Fruit Ninja, like she was just like slicing them down, like
in a way that like you don't really get to see like women get handed the mic and say, go out there and just tear it down if you want to. And she was doing that for a few weeks. Like when she was that Texas, was Dallas, Austin? Was it Dallas?
Yeah, it was in Texas.
Yeah, she's like, what? She's like, I'm seeing some confusion from these chubby Whataburger faces, and the whole crowd goes, ooh! It's like, yo, okay, thank you. Like,
and then she was in Utah, and she was like talking about how all everybody looks related out here, a lot of familiar faces in the building.
Right. So to get finally like the validation of like, she had that one match where like the crowd bought into it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Britt been bringing it. Britt's been bringing it in 2020. Yes. So, you look at she's still behind in the ring, but like the character is there now. So like you're just waiting for like, when is the shoe gonna drop? When's she gonna get it? Because this person that's clearly dedicated, it's clearly somebody that they believe in. When's eventually gonna like everything aligns? And like this might be the match. So. She had that title match against Riho. Was it a title match or was it a contendership match? I can't remember, Rich.
Yeah, a contenders match, I believe. Or no, she had a title match against Riho, I believe.
The crowd, that match worked not because of, obviously Riho's a great underdog babyface, maybe the best one in wrestling. Then you have the whole situation where like nobody wants her to win because they all love Riho so much. And they teased that she was going to win, and then she loses at the end. And then you get to this match, and it's like, all right, this works on the perspective of there's no crowd, it's just work. What do you have? And her and Shida went out there and had a banger.
Yeah, they went like 20 minutes, and they like Britt's whole face got busted open somehow. It turned out to be a deviated septum. I believe that actually happened to Roman before WrestleMania 33.
It has.
Yeah, excuse me, 32. And that's why the blood looked so good, essentially. And she got a shirt out of it, and it was like, I am really happy for Britt that she kind of got, and she got over in defeat, which is always a tough thing to do, and
for a heel too.
Yeah, so
she's stone cold, huh?
Kinda.
A little bit, huh?
There are parallels. They're not many, but there are some.
Yeah. Right, and the cool thing was Jericho was on commentary and said she was like Gene Simmons meets someone, and then the Britt Baker shirt is like the Gene Simmons kiss or the kiss writing on it with Britt on it, and then the face or whatever. I actually got to do my order for that.
Another thing about it is like that shirt. That shirt is a shirt that WWE should have made for Becky on the Go Home show from Raw to Survivor Series 18, but they don't want to sell that kind of shirt.
Yes, and that's one thing with AEW. They strike really having that relationship with pro wrestling tees. Like they're gonna flip around merch, like anything that's like a meme or like a moment. There's gonna be merch getting printed and whatever. But I'm excited to see where she goes from here. I'm not sure, but I think sooner or later you're going to be looking at the champ, and we're going to remember that match. Like, oh, okay, she can hack it.
Yeah, and also like another thing is with these, because of like the California dudes from AEW can't get in because of the lockdown, the travel ban, whatever you want to call it. Certain people from different parts of the country and overseas can't get in either. So like, only thing they really have to rely on are right now are like, even though they shouldn't be running shows, nobody should be running shows, but if they're going to run them, the only people they can rely on are people that are in Florida or Georgia that they can have go over the state border or whatever else and come to do these tapings. Or did the tapings. They already taped a bunch of stuff. But, like, so that's like a Hikaru Shida who moved to the Orlando area, as you had told me earlier. We imagine, like, maybe Riho might get in here at a certain point because she moved to America. Britt lives in Orlando, obviously. Like, and then after that is like, you're going to have to do some patchwork to figure this out. So, like, that's why we haven't seen Nyla.
Like, they're going to be bringing in jobbers. Like, Britt's advertised for next week. She's going to be facing, I would guess, Danny Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I think I saw at ringside. So, they're going to have to, like, shine this whole, like.
But my point is, like, just how Jericho, even though he wasn't as good on commentary as, like, Cody or Kenny Omega was the last couple weeks or whatever else, he knows, like, my responsibility is I got to try to carry this thing. So what he used was the fact that, like, his personality and him being Jericho to just be wacky as hell. And, like, that's what held the day for commentary. Like, so my point is, like, they're running these shows they shouldn't be running, and they have one hand tied behind their back based on the roster availability. So they're going to have to lean on these people. And, like, right now, given what Britt's doing, she's going to reach the destiny they always want for her as a heel, because she's the only person, her and she are the only two people that are like real big stuff, and maybe Swole didn't get her out there. Is like, those are the only people that they can rely on right now because nobody can get in. Mm-hmm. So she could, like, by the time we get to a crowd again, who knows when the fuck that'll be, she might be the most over woman in AEW.
She's going to be like, a mammoth reception the first time, like, that music hits and she comes out there, it's going to be over. Like,
if they can keep this, yes. If they can keep this momentum, yes.
Yeah, but that was all I had on the run sheet. Tonya, definitely thank you for coming on the show and joining us today. Where can everyone follow you? This is like one of the most entertaining people on Twitter. I would definitely recommend y'all follow her.
Hold on, before we even get to that, come correct, because just like One Nation Radio, the motto is don't come kicking that fuck shit.
Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you guys so much. I had so much fun. It's like, I knew I would, though, because, like, black wrestling fans, we're the greatest. Like, anytime I do a show with just black wrestling fans and we're talking wrestling, it's never awkward. But, like, I get on with a certain especially white guys. They, for some reason, they have to prove they know more than the black woman. But I am so glad you guys asked me on here. I'm on Twitter at The Witch Militia. That's at The Witch, like a witch, MILITIA. So
I got a question. As far as the witch stuff, are you a witch in the way that, like, Brandy was a witch during Nightmare Collective, or is it something different?
I was naturally born. Oh no, but I'm serious. I'm naturally born.
Okay.
It's in the blood, so
okay.
You know down south how we cook around here.
Oh,
but thank you guys so much. I had so much fun.
No doubt. We had to have you back on.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. But if you want to wrap this up, James, we
can.
Yeah,
let me get all the stuff out. Yeah, so thanks for listening to the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Powerslam.tv. They have over 5,000 hours of wrestling from all over the world. You can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Also check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast merchandise. Also be sure to check out our other shows on the network. On Sundays we have this show, One Nation Radio. Mondays
we got talking about the draft.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second. On Mondays and Tuesdays we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesday we have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show. Every other Wednesday we have Grumman Watches Shit. On Friday we have Get in the Ring, and on Saturday we have All Things Elite. So as Rich alluded to, we did a Social Suplex Podcast Network draft. We had all of the podcast hosts, unfortunately, except for Get in the Ring and the Rick and Clyde Wrestling Show, and we got together and we did a. Sorry,
Roman Watching Shit wasn't there.
Yeah, Roman Watching Shit not getting the ring. Sorry. Yeah. So we did a draft where the rules were basically we have 12 male singles acts, 6 tag teams, 6 women. And it was a snake order draft where, first round is one team A gets the first pick, team D gets the 4th pick. Second round, team D gets the first pick, and team A gets the last pick, and kept inverting the table every round to make it kind of even. And what we did was we wanted people to pick any wrestlers that are active for the past, in recent time, or were tag teams recently and are regular tag teams. And women as well, and we went out and drafted what we thought were the most talented or best wrestlers or whatever we want to do for a particular card, and we drafted them. And then what we're going to do now from there is we're going to make wrestling cards after that to try to see who made a card that would attract most people, or what people thought would be the best card to go pay money to go see or whatever else. So we'll eventually get to that. We recorded it yesterday. I think we're going to put up the draft show.
The draft show going to come out Thursday, I believe.
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, I think. And then I think next week all of us will be recording our cards and go over them in a 15-minute thing, and we'll send that to Jeremy, or they'll send it to me. I don't know who's doing that. And we'll put that show up, and then we'll put it to a vote who made the best card / who's the best booker with a fourth of the talent in the world. It should be everybody's a good booker with that amount of talent.
Yeah. I just want to let y'all know right now, our roster is killer.
Yeah.
Killer. Yeah. So,
one thing also to mention, 6 tag teams, 6 women, 12 male singles acts. So that's 30 slots. I think only 9 people. I think 21 of our 30 people are non-white. So I think we brought the diversity without even trying. We just thought, let's just grab the best. So I haven't looked at everybody else's, but I would hope that everybody's looks like ours without even thinking about it, because I don't know how you don't, so whatever. We'll see. We will see.
We gonna see. So letting y'all know right now, I ain't losing to Floyd. No, I ain't losing to Jeremy and Josh, especially Josh. And get in the ring. I mean, y'all gonna have to get out the ring, at this.
So I laid out all this stuff or whatever else, and then now you want to go out here and bury these dudes. No, you want to go out here and talk cash and cut a promo on these dudes after I just said that our card is diverse. Well, now you basically y'all bigots don't know how to book. Come on, man. Why you doing like that? Oh, man. But I guess last words for anyone before we cut it off.
That's going to be it, man. Everybody stay in the house. Don't fuck around with this shit. So.
Yes, please stay in the house. And stay safe.
All right, later, y'all.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Peace.